The Texas Department of Motor Vehicles has adopted a new rule which requires anyone applying for a Texas dealer license the first time and anyone renewing a Texas dealer's license to obtain fingerprints. The new fingerprinting requirement is necessary to prevent fraud in the application process by verifying a dealer license applicant's identity, as well as the identity of any person affiliated with that dealer's license. The new fingerprint requirement is also necessary to obtain a complete and comprehensive Texas Department of Public Safety and Federal Bureau of Investigation criminal background check on any person applying or renewing a dealer's license. So the following dealer license categories will need to be fingerprinted: franchise motor vehicle dealers, independent motor vehicle dealers, wholesale motor vehicle dealers, motorcycle dealers, house trailer dealers, and those are the ones that sell travel trailers and towable recreational vehicles, trailer or semi-trailer dealer, and independent mobility motor vehicle dealers must now be fingerprinted. So the following persons on or associated with the license will need to be fingerprinted: all owners, presidents, managing partners, persons acting in a representative capacity for an applicant or a dealer holder, including the applicant, or officers, directors, members, managers, trustees, partners, principals, or managers of business affairs. When a person currently applies for a Texas dealer's license, the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles currently has access to a background check via what's called a name-based search to the criminal history record information that the Department of Public Safety maintains. However, criminals can actually circumvent the name-based background check by using false or stolen identities. A fingerprint-based background check is much more extensive and helps prevent a person from using a false or stolen identity in order to obtain a Texas dealer's license. A background check significantly increases the likelihood that the Department of Motor Vehicles can verify the identity of the applicant as well as the applicant's representatives who are included on the license application. The fingerprints will be collected through a service called Identigo, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But Identigo requires the individual to show up in person and present identification, which must be validated prior to having their fingerprints collected electronically. License issued by the Department of Motor Vehicles really create positions of trust, and abuse of this trust provides license holders opportunities to engage in fraud, theft, money laundering, and many other related crimes. Recently, you've probably heard about this, but some license holders have taken advantage of their dealer license by printing fraudulent temporary tags, which enable criminals to operate stolen vehicles. They can facilitate crimes such as human trafficking, drug trafficking. Criminals use fraudulently obtained temporary tags that are registered under fake names and addresses to make it harder for law enforcement to trace those vehicles. Fraudulent temporary tags are also used to operate motor vehicles that violate environmental and safety regulations, thus endangering the public. The new fingerprint requirement is also designed to protect the public even when a fraudulent temporary tag is not issued, because holders of Texas dealer's licenses provide services that involve access to very confidential information during a loan application process, titling, registration of private property. And furthermore, dealer license holders and the representatives of the dealer license holders obtain possession of monies that belong to or owed private individuals and creditors, and they also obtain money that's owed to government entities, such as taxes that are collected at the time of the sale. In addition, licensure provides persons who are predisposed to commit assault or sexual crimes with greater opportunities to engage in such conduct. So, lastly, license holders and their representatives must comply with federal and state environmental and safety regulations as well. Currently, the Department of Public Safety criminal history record information is really limited to crimes that were committed in Texas. So the newly obtained rule will allow an FBI criminal history record to be obtained as well. So this is going to basically show the Department of Motor Vehicles crimes that were committed in other states as well as federal crimes. Human and drug trafficking are commonly prosecuted on a federal level. Also, the FBI fingerprint-based criminal history background check enables the department to obtain the FBI, it's called a wrap back subscription, which notifies the Department of Motor Vehicles when a person's criminal history record has changed. So the Department of Public Safety also provides a wrap back service, which requires those fingerprints as well. So they'll be able to know if you've broken a law or committed crimes during the time that you have your dealer's license as well. So the Department of Motor Vehicles intends to use the information from the FBI and the Department of Public Safety wrap-back services to determine if an associated license should be revoked or not renewed as authorized under certain state laws. So here are some fingerprint steps that I want you to be really, really aware of. And first of all, do not go to the vendor to get your fingerprints taken until you receive notification from the Motor Vehicle Division that the fingerprints are required. So first of all, step number one, you're going to submit your completed application to the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles for processing. Step number two, the Motor Vehicle Division of the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles will conduct an initial review of your application, including the payment review to ensure it meets requirements. Step number three, the Motor Vehicle Division's Background and Fraud Unit will review your application to determine whether fingerprints are required, and if so, who on your application needs to be fingerprinted. Do not go to the vendor until you're ordered to take your fingerprints. So do not report to Identigo until you are instructed to do so by the Motor Vehicle Division. And then step number four, the Motor Vehicle Division will notify you via email when fingerprints are required and who on your application needs to be fingerprinted. So, additional instructions, including the Texas Department of Motor Vehicle service code, will be provided in that email. So when you go get your fingerprints, the fingerprint tech is going to ask for the service code. And when the Texas Department of Motor Vehicle, when they email you additional instructions, you will get that service code. Once the Motor Vehicle Division sends you notification by email that fingerprints are required, they do encourage that those identified as requiring fingerprints go to the vendor Identigo as quickly as possible, because there is going to be a backlog on these fingerprint processing times. So going as soon as possible will help facilitate a timely processing of your dealer license application. Step number five, all individuals requiring fingerprints must have their fingerprints live scanned or submitted via email ink cards to Identigo. And results of the fingerprinting are going to be sent directly to the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles from both the Texas Department of Public Safety Crime Records Division and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And finally, step number six, the Motor Vehicle Division Background and Fraud Unit is going to review the information, and they may request additional documentation or statements if necessary. Once again, I want to make sure this is very important information. Do not report to your fingerprint location until directed by the Motor Vehicle Division. Once again, do not report to your fingerprint location until you receive that email from the Motor Vehicle Division. Also, current holders of a Texas dealer license must obtain fingerprints upon initial renewal of the dealer license. So you're going to be required to meet the fingerprint requirements at the time of your initial first-time license application and your license renewal. You also, if you ever, submit an amendment application to change ownership, whichever of those comes first. I want you to be aware the fingerprint requirement is a one-time requirement if you hold an active license and you keep that license maintained. However, if you ever fail to submit a timely manner or maybe allow your license to be closed, you will be required to submit new fingerprints if you apply for a subsequent license in the future. So hopefully it's a one-time requirement when you initially apply for your license. And if you currently have a license, it should be a one-time requirement when you're renewing your license, unless you ever allow your license to be closed. So fingerprints are going to be provided by a company called Identigo, and you'll have to pay that fee directly to the vendor, and results of those fingerprints are going to be sent directly to the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles, like I said, from both the Texas Department of Public Safety Crimes Records Division and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The current cost of fingerprinting with Identigo is $38.25, and that cost can change, obviously, but at the time of this video, the current fee is $38.25. Now, if for some reason you're unable to schedule an appointment for a live scan at an Identigo location, maybe you've got something that prohibits you from doing that, or if you possibly live in a state outside of Texas, you must be fingerprinted in ink on a standard, it's called an FD-258 fingerprint card at a local law enforcement agency or another agency that's certified for fingerprinting. So normally you're going to go to that Identigo location and have your fingerprints electronically taken, but if you're in another state or something's keeping you from being able to do that, you can submit an FD-258 fingerprint card that you can get filled out at your local law enforcement agency. Also, additional instructions regarding this method of submission will be included with your instructional email that you get from the MVD once they review your license application. Once again, my name is Dallas Johnson. I'm the lead instructor of the Automobile Dealer Training Association, and I hope you found this information helpful. If you have not taken your dealer training course, we are approved by the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles to provide your mandatory dealer license training. Just go to texasdealers.com and click on the big blue Enroll Now button. Thank you very much. I want to wish you the very best of luck with your business.